Welcome to my humble little office. This is, March 21st, 2026 at approximately 3:04 p.m. PST. Now, that said, I figured I had to put things off and what have you, but I'm not going to get anywhere if I don't actually get started. So, here we are. Now, I'm not expecting a whole lot. What I'm doing right now is actually quite simple. I figure if I'm going to talk about building an empire, it's best I get started. So I'm just going to carry on and see what pops. Hopefully I've got water here. Yep. Yes, I keep my water in a filing cabinet. I'm not actually. I should have checked that, shouldn't I? Just because I'm curious. I go here and open another YouTube panel. Then I can see what I'm actually looking at. What my stream is actually saying at. Where are we here? Okay. Okay. There we go. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to build an empire, the first thing I had to come to the conclusion of is what. Hey, how are we, Callie? Glad to see you. The reality is, I had to decide on one little detail. The first thing you got to understand about that I had to come to understand, and this is just my journey. Understand an empire. Oh, by the way, Cowie, you have gold. I was debating, in all honesty, whether or not to carry on with that in here. But the reality is, it seems to work. Now, what is that mobility? First thing I had to decide was, in all fairness, what size empire. Now, I will tell you, an empire does not have to be an empire does not have to be global reaching. You can build an empire, your empire, your sanctum sanctorum. There's a lot of different ways of looking at it. I figured, okay, how big is my empire going to be? Now, in all fairness, I am essentially a nobody. Okay, yes, I've got right now 727 followers. I've seen so many people go, oh, look, I've got thousands of followers after only 5, 10, a week or two. I've been here for where the day in the office comes. I've been here for going on 3 years now. Okay, I am not an exciting individual, in my eyes anyway. Pop that out of the way. So the first thing that I look at is, where do we start? Because I'm starting from basically scratch. But I figured, okay, what went south? Well, I can tell you a couple of things. I'm not going to go into the details because how you get to where you are, it has come to my attention, and I've known it for a while, that wherever you are right this moment, that is simply where you're starting. You cannot alter where you came from. Okay, you really can't. So the reality behind it is this: once you figure out where you're standing, and I've got to go through a lot of it, but we start with the office. Your office, wherever you do your work, that is literally that's the backbone. The office is the brain of your empire. Now, I'm starting this office here is also, I could do a backdrop. People talk to me about, oh, let me, give me X number of dollars. I'll show you how to set your office up properly. The reality is, I'm real. This is me. Okay. You run into me on the street, you ask me a question, I'll answer you the same way I will here. That being said, by all means, ask away. If I keep turning away from the counter, from the office, this makes sense. Yes, I've got about 15 feet of office. Okay, but I can't reach all of it. So what I have to do is look at it and go, okay, where am I standing and what am I working with? Now, I figure, okay, here's the empire I'm building. I'm starting here. Now I came up with an idea quite some time back. And grab my empire notebook. Because this will help immensely. Okay, the first thing I had to do was go, okay, how big am I going? Well, okay, I'm looking at this. I'm sitting at 727 viewers. Today is the 21st. 3, 2, 1, 2, 0, 2, 6 at 15. Oh, well, 15 on it. So we came in, we started getting in here. I opened the door, at all, fairness, at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Okay. Now, it took me a minute to get the screen up, but I look at it. I was sitting down getting set to open up. Normally, I should, and if you're running a business, bear in mind, okay, think, then speak. Empire. How much of an impact on the world are you looking at? Are you just looking at getting your life in order, or are you looking at making an impact on other people? Now, with that in mind, an empire can be literally as small as a single room in your house. Okay, and many people. Well, I don't know about the many people thing, but some people call their little hole a home away from that's your sanctum sanctorum. Basically, it's your little cave. Okay, now I'm starting in here. Okay, and yes, here's the nice thing. And because I also run a live stream. Now today's Saturday. I also run a live stream called Positive Perceptions. Okay, and when you look at that, okay, take a look at the size of the room you've got, and I have to start off with the whole 9 yards. So we start in the office. How big am I going? How big do I desire to go? I'm going global. Now, a contact of mine some time ago, one of my listeners, told me flat out, "What do you mean you're going global?" And I'm paraphrasing. They went, "Yeah, I'm in Australia, and you're already global." So, I decided at this point to take a look at things and start really tracking it. But I have to start where I am. So here we are at the ground level. I literally woke up and went, I almost went in yesterday. I went, nope, this is March. So from here on out, there's been a lot of changes that have happened to me. From here on out, I'm moving forward. So if I end up getting up and moving, that's because I have to. The first thing to do is clear off whatever you call wherever you work on your finances, on your organization. So good, I remember to close all the doors, because this is also my master bedroom. Okay, now first and foremost, not to worry, that nice little coffee cup is going to leave when I leave the office. I'm just not doing so right now. So first thing you do is go, how big are you going? Well, I'm going global. Okay, the way I figure it, out in that world out there, it is a mess. The world in here is a disaster. But if somebody like me can get my head on straight and go, I'm going to build an empire. I'm going to deliberately go from being a nobody to being somebody that people can look at and say, hey, he went from nothing and came to this. I don't know how long this is going to take. I can tell you this. I have been through the ringer. Okay. I'm not somebody that was born to a silver spoon, as the saying goes. Okay, I could give you the whole background, and probably should, because I'm running this through my head to see where I'm actually standing. And that's the first thing. I've already got my computer desk clear. But my office, to give you an idea of the shape things are in, we take the table. Now, you take a look at your office, and here's what you do: break things down. Okay, you break down the layout, because if you try and change your life all at once, you're going to run into hiccups. So, starting right this moment, well, starting about 5 minutes ago, I'm breaking down the office. So I've got a 15-foot desk. Okay, can't get it all of it as easy as I'd like. But the breakdown is this: I've got the monitor over here. The one that this computer is sitting on is the computer desk itself. Then I've got the desk, which is just an operating area, but it's a mess right now. I've got a shelf above it and a table below it. Okay. Now, here's where we get started, because that's where I am. Okay. What? Oh, of course. Might be an idea. If you got computer glasses, which I now do, might be an idea to put them on so I can see. Okay. Now, I am not honestly expecting a whole lot of people out. This box here, which was on my monitor desk, this is the box of stuff going to a secondhand store. It's leaving my house. Now, I got a whole pile of these, by the way. This bed, which I'm using as a temporary desk, is going to be straightened out. Now that this world is an absolute disaster. My head is even worse mess. So I figure if I can take my life and turn it around, then maybe there's hope for everybody else. Look in the mirror. You're not. There's an old saying that goes, "There's always somebody in worse shape. There's always somebody in better." Okay. So in my case, it took a lot to figure that out. I spent decades. Well, that is interesting. I'm looking at this, Cowie, and I ended up, I'm seeing little bits and pieces show up. You've got some symbol I can't quite make out, and then a P. Now, I don't know if this is intentional or if the stream is lagging. I should really take a look at that. Let's pop onto that and see what people are seeing. Nope, that's right. Okay. So I'll stay on that because that's live stream. But I figured, okay, I'm starting from the ground, so my monitor is now clear. This neat little ring of mine, this was my brother's. Okay. He unfortunately passed away. And in all fairness, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because his passing away was actually a blessing to him. But that clears that up now. This is... So I'm looking, all I'm doing right now is just clearing this desk off. And pardon me while I pop this open. Where are we? Empire. That'd be right. In depth. All the way to the top. I gotta start clearing this off too. Today, March 21st. And here's the thing. Okay, I'm getting this done first. And of course, that does mean that I'm going to be making changes as I go along. I still don't work as well as I'd like. Okay, that took care of that, so we save that. I literally with the Boy, is my brain not working or what? Oops. Not a problem there, Callie. Yeah, Callie's just letting us know. Oops, phone's in the pocket. Yo, I've got a neat little problem with my phone. It counter dials. But you figure out where am I standing. Now, my computer desk is now clear. Now I get to take a look at the desk itself. Okay. And the desk itself, when you're building, you've got to get your head on straight. Now understand, maybe your empire is simply a one room. Right now, that's what this is. Okay. And yes, I'm going to end up clearing my desk onto my bed because that way I can actually see what I'm working on. Phone goes over there where I can keep an eye on it. Now, I will warn you ahead of time, guys. The three people I will interrupt whatever I'm doing, including a professional consultation, is I will turn around. Oh, should have done that. Oops. Really should do that. So, let us go to here. Let's open another one just to get there. Nice thing about the internet is I can actually multitask like my mind would like to. But the difficult part with it is I don't think it can keep up half the time. Okay. Take that. There we go. That pops us in where we need to be. Now, I am a published author and a professional consultant. More specifically, a professional psychic consultant. I never went to school at all. I never went and took a course in consulting. I never got my psychology degree. Never got my psychiatry degree. Never even got my business degree per se. But what I ended up doing was I turned around and went, okay, I seem to have a natural gift for turning around and seeing answers before I necessarily get the question. So if you look at the top of the screen, there's a link there called buymeacoffee.com/InnerVoiceJ. Now that will get you to every book I've got in print. Okay. As well as your reach to get a hold of me for consulting, professional or business. I literally deal with everything. I don't know of a topic I don't deal with, except I do not do adult. I do not do adult entertainment. Okay, that's not because there's anything wrong with it. It's because of the fact that I look at it and go, "That's your private thing." Okay, as long as you follow 3 simple karmic laws, and that is be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, those 3 laws are the only 3 that I actually follow. Okay, but understand something kind of important. Okay, where it comes to those laws, each one is as equally important as the next. Kind of like the 3 legs on a 3-legged stool. This is simply a book. Gotta quit moving so fast with these new glasses. But, stand up and get the books back where they belong. And of course, if you go to that link, what you'll find is a couple of things. First and foremost, every one of the books is available in print, in physical form. Okay. And the reason for that, for me, I personally feel that if you're the old world, as in where you're physically putting effort into it, that's where the real kicker is. That is what I don't have a lot. There is something about that. Gotta go all the way back. No, I don't have a lot of room to work with. Nice part is I've actually got that worked out in my head. And I will in time turn around. What? Pull that out. I will in time get a full office all of its own. That's already been planned there. To make myself busy here, that's the dang thing. Okay. February, don't require. What is it? No. That just stays there. That's January. I don't think I've got March in here, do I? Okay, that's all stuff I've got to have there, but down here, it's this neat little thing called an envelope. And again, the more organized you are, the better off things are going to be. Because here's the reality. I don't know about you, but I started off in a real mess. Okay. But organization is the key. The fastest way to stabilize emotion is literally logic. Okay. The fastest way to derail logic is emotion. The two have to run in tandem. Okay. So what I'm doing right now is I'm literally going through things and simply organizing from the ground. Now, there's a lot of things I've got on that I've got intended in the intention line. Okay. But it has to be done one step at a time. You know the old saying, maybe. The job's not done until the paperwork's finished. Well, in this case, that also means storing and putting files back where they belong as soon as you got them. Oh, ain't that nice? You put that there. So I am literally working on this and going, okay, where am I headed? That took care of that, this, and that's taking care of a lot of the stuff here. This, again, let's go in here. Yeah, let's sort all this out. And that's part of what I'll be doing as I go along. Well, we're going to pop that in 2026 simply because of the fact I'll get it soon enough. But again, when you're organizing, there's some stuff you keep, some stuff you don't. In my case, it's pretty black and white what I'm up to. What is this? Okay. Now, I made the mistake, okay, and I'm sure you probably have. A letter comes in and you look at it going, what am I supposed to do with this? Now, this gets fine. Nope, don't need that. I got a file drawer literally for business. So, what is this? I'm going to require a file to make that work. Okay, go all the way to the back of this. Somewhere back here, I will find, I might need more of this. Again, this is what I mean by get organized from the ground. So I got a bunch of files, and I'm sure you did the same thing. Okay, some of you have turned around and gone, I just don't want to look at the mail right now. This is not a good option. Okay, so we put a catch-all file for what I require. There we are. And get it organized. So right here, I've got a drawer for my business. Now, understand your business may be just running your house. When you run your house like a business, if you track it, you will find things change properly. Now, this is bank. And I am right now. Everything is done for 2026, unless everything currently. So I've got a file now that simply tells banking and tells me banking. And as soon as I get the desk worked out, which is what today is about, tell you why I started this whole thing. Okay, why I decided I was going to take a different tack on. If your emotions are running all over the place, and in my case, I fought depression for decades. You may well have. Okay, I call this a day in the office simply because it's literally what I'm doing to organize where my life is going. One step at a time, but leaving files plugged, leaving incoming mail, leaving it unopened. You can miss opportunities that are good, or you can miss ones that are absolutely a disaster. Those ones get worse if you ignore them. Me, how we doing? Glad you can join us. You are in with the silver. Now, understand there may be other people in the background. That's great. I am absolutely intent on answering questions as I see them, but the priority here is making absolutely certain that I get this office sorted out so I can function. I don't require that. I'm starting from the ground up, so it really is a disaster. Pop that in there. Again, it boils down to this. Boy, going around in circles a lot, aren't it? But it boils down to this. You take a look at where you are, okay, and go, okay, where do I have to go from here? Okay, that goes into. I've got a whole pile of stuff on my desk that I'm still working to get straightened out. That is March. Oh, but I don't think I need that. Yep, that's right. Social Services 2026. Now, people will go, well, you got to be careful what you talk about. And I do. This is family friendly. And here's the neat little kicker. Whether you desire to reclaim power over your own life, or you're just starting out and you're trying to find your way, these tools still apply. Maybe you're a millionaire. Okay, perhaps you're already a millionaire and just haven't found out the answer to one little question. Are you happy? Okay. If you are not, if there is one thing out of line for you being happy, that's the thing that we look to change. Okay. Now this little trick of organizing things makes all the difference in the world for you. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's fine. Okay. Okay. Don't need that one. Whether you're just starting out or you're already, I kid you not, even if you are an existing billionaire, my bet is you're still doing things backwards. Money is not how you determine whether or not you're actually making headway. It is simply a case of that is an easy way to market. But remember, whether you're a billionaire or a pauper, okay, you're still just as important as the next person. Because here's the thing most people aren't willing to look at. And this is why I treat everybody identically. Okay, like I look at everybody with the same outlook. Okay. Here's the thing. Money does not make a person. And this old saying that goes, man is not judged by the height to which they climb, so much as by the depth from which they have climbed. Well, I'm starting out, and let's take a look at that so we can really make this make sense. What is that? Don't need into that at this point. Oh, well, I got into it. I might as well leave it there. Let us take a look, because I need this information from me anyway. People say, oh, you shouldn't tell people what you're doing. Well, probably not, but we are talking in a day and age where if you don't actually discuss what you're up to, something you will find. And this is where, what do we got here? Oh, I'll go back and look at that. I looked at it this way. No matter who you are, if you've got more money than I do, that's a pretty good bet. Okay. The fact of the matter is, whether you're a pauper or a millionaire or a billionaire for that matter, my guess is you're doing the exact same thing. Let me ask you this, and here's where everything I've looked back over it, here's where things got screwed. My parents, and most parents make the same mistake. Let's not tell the kids what we're going through financially, because it's too much stress for them. I'm telling you, if you're not already sitting down with your kids or with whoever your guardian over, if you're not already sitting down with them and going, here's the state my finances are in. This is what I'm looking at. This is why we can't afford what we're talking about, what you'd like. If you're not doing that, then what you're actually doing is you're literally condemning them to have to figure it out for themselves. Okay. And that applies to whether you're a pauper living on the street or and I hope you're not one of those. I really do. And I shouldn't put it that way. I hope you're not living on the street. But whether you are or not does not make you any less of an individual person than the billionaire that owns several countries owns several businesses in multiple countries. Don't mind me. I'm not about to tell you. Look, I'm not about to tell you what my passwords are and that sort of thing. I've been known to talk out loud, in case you hadn't noticed. But the way I look at it is this. If you don't tell your kids or your charges what you're doing with finances, why you're having the trouble you're having, you're not doing them any favors. Yeah, they may not be aware enough to understand it entirely. I'm a firm believer now at 63 years old. Had my parents done that when I actually was a kid, I wouldn't be doing it, wouldn't have made the mistakes I have now. So we look at this and see what goes on now. This is why I have this paperwork here. Okay. Do I have anything going on? I do. Look at that. No, that one, that of course made sense. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm doing is I've gone into my bank, and this is why I say, and this will cause some of you to go, oh, you don't know what you're doing, because you're looking at this and you're telling us this is the mess you're in, and you haven't got a backbone, you haven't got a material backbone at all. Okay. Got to check something. Oh, good. Okay. You haven't got a material backbone at all. Because I'll tell you, here's where things get real and stupid at the same time. Understand, I made some pretty pathetic maneuvers. 10. Okay. And, I know I did not ask my wife about what I was going to be talking about. Okay. I'm not about to give anybody any extra thing to go on that they require, but this is going to throw you for a loop. I require. What have I got? Okay. What I'm doing is writing down my actual balances. So that one has 657.9 in my mainstream account. Okay. And that's where it's sitting. Okay. This is what kind of money I don't have. So if you're expecting me to tell you I'm a billionaire and this is what you do because you got a lot of money, I'm telling you, you're gone right down the wrong road. So my savings, which I had to deplete over the last year in order to actually keep a roof over my head, has a staggering $16 in. Okay, my Mad Money account, and yes, and now all of these accounts I strongly recommend you get. If you don't have these type of accounts I'm talking about right now, I strongly suggest you go to the bank or trust company of your choice and get them, because we're going to be working with them over time. What is this? My Mad Money account, and that's the money I use to do whatever I please. If I want to buy a chocolate bar, a coffee, a coffee, whatever, this is the money I'm working with. So, minimum account has a 1032. But you'll know now. Oh, my primary account, yes, it's got 657 in it, but I happen to currently have access to a $1,500 overdraft. Okay. Now, my US Daily, what's that? My US account. Like I said, now I'm global. Most of my interaction comes from people in the States or in Canada, and I'm going to keep an eye open. And as I find out, I am planning on keeping track of how many different countries I'm getting into. And I gotta ask, let's go back and take a look at that for a second. I gotta ask, there we are. Callie, just a curiosity. I'm not keeping track of who's in what country, but so I can figure out how big this grows. If you can tell me what country you are currently in and what country you're operating out of, that would be appreciated. And Rachel, you are in with the bronze. I am so happy to see you. Thank you so much, Callie. I require this. We are in the U.S., obviously, Hawaii specifically. Now, the fact of the matter is this. When I'm looking at what kind of reach I'm having, I watch all of these people reach out. They're getting thousands upon thousands of viewers. They're playing games. They're showing you, oh, here's a dream. Here's my dream. I desire to get this. I'm building an empire to do my best to guide other people to a better life in their eyes. Okay. And right now, I'm just looking at the starting point. Now, where was I here? I pop off the screen so I can actually see what I'm looking at. That is not what I need. I require that one. Oh. I am dense on occasion, you know that? But I figure I might just well let you know exactly where I'm standing and why I'm looking at the world going, I'm going to do better. Now that US account that I've got has 196 in it. And again, I'm not in the States. I'm actually in Canada. Okay. Specifically, I'm in BC. So, yes, I am reaching me because this is literally an effort for me to reclaim power over my life. Now, my one visa, okay, and everybody, I don't care if you've got 7 or 8 visas, we're going to deal with that down the road. Right now, in today's world, it is essentially imperative that you have that you do have at least one Visa. One Visa, one MasterCard, one credit card. You only require one in today's world. I'm going after as many as I can get. And I'll explain that as we go along. But right now, that account has 6197. It is under limit. Okay. 619782. That is under limit. Okay. And I've got a no interest bank account as well. A tax-free savings account as well. And again, it is, in my opinion, imperative you get one of each of those. The U.S. account, that's your call. An active checking account, a true savings account, which we will be discussing as we go along. I'll be discussing these in greater detail on Positive Perceptions, which happens from Friday through Tuesday every week. That's the idea. Okay, I take my Wednesday and Thursday off for a lot of reasons. But my TSFA has got a staggering 242. Not a lot of money, so we're not dealing with, we are not dealing with a multimillionaire here. Okay, I'm going to ignore that account because it doesn't change. I closed out an account, and this is why I say everybody makes these miscalculations. I have listed an RSP. I told them to close it. It still has 2 cents in it. Now, 2 cents that is sitting there in hold, okay, to me isn't going to matter. To you isn't going to matter. But a million clients in a bank, okay, if they've got 2 cents locked up that they can't do anything with, that's, 2 cents in a million. Gee, I love the fact my brain is not working. That's not going to work for long either. Told you my brain doesn't always work. If we go 0.02 negative plus 0.02. That's $20,000, and that's assuming only 2 cents. But how many accounts does a bank have open where they leave money trapped that they can't use? Now, I don't know about you, but $20,000 is almost more than I make in a year. It's not much, don't get me wrong, and I'm not talking about having big amounts of money. Okay, I'm talking about doing this with the idea of figuring out exactly where you stand. Okay. Whoop. Gravity works. Now I'll get to that in a second. Okay, that TSFA was that pending. So 16. And when is that due? April 6th. Okay. Wonder if I've got my calendar down here. And by the look of it, no. Okay, so that's where my banking sits. And again, I'm not telling you that you're in better shape or I'm in better shape. Financially, I'm a wreck. But that's why I say, you don't gauge your success by the height to which you climb, so much as by the depth from which you have climbed. So, I've done that. Let's go here and see what we missed. Okay, now understand that cleared off that part. Now I know where my bank is sitting there. I've got other credit cards. And while I'm thinking about it, I should probably deal with that. This is what I mean by a day in the office. These are things that I have to do in order to make certain that I get back on track. You don't worry about how you got where you are. Okay, it really doesn't work that well. Where am I here? I've already checked those. So I'll worry about due dates as they come up. So where, pray tell, is that one? Because I do have to check. I don't need to worry about that. I am just looking to get into my account. Ah, there we are. And, we've got a massively automated world right now. And it is so easy to scramble it. Okay. I keep all of my passwords in here. Okay. In a file box. Yes, I'm old school. Oh, that's not going to help. That's fine. So I go in here and we go that. And password. No, I'm not telling you what it is. Sorry, you're out of luck there. Okay. Make sure that I did that right. I don't know if it's a good idea to do things this way, but what am I looking at here? Take a look at that. There we are. When is that do? Oh, okay. That's good. Anything left over? No. Bonus. Okay. So all of my utilities are up to date. Kind of critical now. Here's the thing with utilities. Everybody's got rent, mortgage, lease, something like that. Myself, I rent. Okay. Everybody's got these, but the most sorry about that. The most important one to deal with happens to be your rent. Keep a roof over your head if at all possible. This doesn't make you a better person than anybody else. It simply means it simply means you're living where you are. Okay. And in all fairness, if people weren't in worse shape than you are, you would know you were in good shape. And that is due April 7th. Normally, I would put this straight on my calendar, but I can't do that right now. Okay. Now, you're going to have to pardon me for half a minute here. Because it's either I deal with it or I don't. Oh, I'm not. Okay, now, when you're taking a look at utilities, everybody has the same problem. What do you pay first? If you're behind, everybody says cut back, etc. Doesn't always work that way. Okay, what you're really looking at is manipulating your money, as in moving it properly to be able to deal with it. Now, we've got that's all set, so I can get out of that now. And we go here, get out of that account altogether. I've already checked my phone, and all I got to worry about is my phone, my cell, and my utilities. Phone, cell, power, and my rent. Okay, everything else I can manipulate, but those are the critical ones that everybody's got to take care of, whether you run a house or a business. But you get your rent paid for. Well, in all fairness, you take 1% off the top of your account, off the top of your bank, okay, the top of your income, and put that in your pocket. if you have a partner, if you're married and or have a common law partner, no matter what country you're in, that 1%, you put 1% in your pocket and 1% in theirs. And this is something, I've got a wife, okay, but you got to use your brains. Okay, so you take that 1% and you go, okay, I'm putting 1% in my pocket. That's your mad money. And here's why you have mad money. Because mad money literally means I get to do whatever I please with it. I don't have to track it. If I desire to buy a chocolate bar, so be it. That's what I'm buying. And here's why you do it. Because doing that changes the feel of your income from I'm working to pay my bills to I'm working and paying my bills. Okay, I'll tell you, the difference is remarkable. Yes, I keep all kinds of odd things around me. And, okay, don't need that because it doesn't do a thing. Now these, let's see. This is scrap notes that I had, and I've now reached the point where I really don't care one way or the other. Does this tell me when it's due? I need that. Okay, I've got to hang on to this because this is simply information on different stuff we're working on. But it's got to be kept intact so I can sort it out as soon as I get done. Now we are 4 o'clock. I'm running this. Well, I'm getting my office sorted out. It's that simple. That was pulled that out to make sure I could survive. Okay. But it's absolutely critical you make sure you stay on top of things. That's different projects I'm working on. Got to double check that one, but I don't have the wherewithal. So, some of this paperwork you'll notice I'm shredding. That's because I don't require it anymore. Okay, this. That can sit there. That's gaming. And as I've told you guys before, I do play Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. Okay, what is it? Not necessary. Now, like I said, I've already got my monitor desk, which is where the second monitor will go once I've got it. It's already cleared, as is my computer desk. What is this? Oh, that's the work on that one. Now this is the notes, the first handwritten part of believe in your imagination and follow your dreams. 2. I'll take a look at that. Okay, I'm gonna have to go through these. There we are. 3. This is another one of the books I'm working on, and that would be that. That's got to be double checked and gotten to turn to hard copy. So before he gets, or not hard copy, the soft copy. Now, come over here. There we go. We gotta go through that, straighten it out. And again, like I said, I started this in an absolute disaster. So this is literally starting from the ground up. And these have to go into hard copy, or into soft copy to get done. Then I'll expand. Then we look at these 2. Journal entries. Very important in my eyes to to keep a journal. It helps you keep it. It helps get stuff out of your head. You may never go back over it. Hey, knock it up. Thank you. You may never go back over your information. Okay, but writing it down will help you get the negative stuff out of your system so you can function. Now, like I said, I spent decades fighting depression in spite of talking about being positive. And here's the thing, okay, there's lots of people that say, oh, think positive thoughts, talk about positive things. This is a great idea. The only problem is, if you're not getting off your tail feathers, you are not going to break out of depression. I can give you all the tools, but if you don't get up and do something, you're completely hooked. Don't have to believe me. Ask yourself. Even if you're one of these people that is constantly praying, constantly talking about being positive, about positive affirmations first thing in the morning, if you're one of these people, are you feeling better today than you did yesterday? I'm telling you, it didn't work that way for me. Okay, for me, it boiled down to I did a lot of praying. I actually was a Sunday school teacher. Okay, I was. What are we looking? Jeff, how you doing? You are in actually with the bronze. Literally, I've decided what I'm working on here is I'm literally building my empire from the ground up, and that means I'm starting in an absolute disaster of an area. Where is that? Gaming. Gaming. And that's my health, which is admittedly a little bit of a mess, but what the heck? That can fit. That's too quick. Don't know what I'm doing with that yet. This, on the other hand, I know exactly what I'm doing with. This is, again, I keep track of this. Now, my savings, I keep tabs on what savings are, and now I'm in a position where I can actually look at it and go, where am I heading from here? Okay, and I will start repaying it. Right now, I'm $1,000 owing to it. But it's my money, so what I do with it is up to me. That one didn't save any money, so I don't need it. Now, I know that. Let's not leave those out anymore, shall we? Let's go at my med records, at my medical for me. Okay. That's why I've got this. Okay. Take this and we go. Again, it boils down to organization, but all the prayer in the world has not done me any good. I talk about being positive all the time. Okay. I talk about it all the time. But until I decided I was getting up and moving and doing something, putting these efforts to work, I was not. But Callie, thanks so much for dropping in. Really appreciate it. Your support honestly is pretty much invaluable to me. But enjoy the rest of your weekend as well. Okay, medical. The fact of the matter is, if you procrastinate, it does not get you anywhere. I'd like to say it does, but quite frankly, it doesn't. I will be back again tomorrow. I'm not gone yet, by the way. What time are we? We are 4 o'clock-ish. Yeah. I will be back again tomorrow. I'm going to be doing this again Tuesday through Friday through Tuesday. Okay, that's the idea. Now, what is this? Oh, well, definitely want to hang on to that. If I don't have the account, then I'm going to have to build it. I will be so happy when I get things organized here. Where am I here? I am looking for what? Oh, since I don't necessarily have it organized, I don't necessarily have a file available. I'll just build them as I go along and as I find dupes afterwards, because I now have it organized where I know what my balances and what my books are going to look like. And I'm talking my financial books. But if you're going to organize your life, you start from the ground up and get on. Because I will tell you, procrastinating will not get you very far. That goes in there. Yeah, that didn't work well. Oh well, got over it. And that is, I believe, that is, yep. So we take this and we go making a file for it. I got to work on my handwriting, I'm telling you. Not that that matters from your end, you don't have to read it. Me, it would be an idea if I could. And there are days when I literally write so poorly I cannot read it. But I can learn, I can change that. This can go there. And this. Slowly but surely, I'm working through a pile of stuff that I put behind that I left alone. Now, what is that? Yeah, right there. I recommend if you're putting a file system together, don't try and subcategorize the files right off the bat. If you can, this is great. But I recommend making your files easy to find. Do not worry about somebody else getting into your files and figuring out what you're doing. Because honestly, it becomes counterproductive. What is this? Oh, okay. What do we got here? That's right. I gotta go through that. These files and this again. I walked into my room. I walked into the office. When I came in here today, I went, this is an absolute disaster. So I either have to deal with it and change what I'm doing, and all the prayer in the world, all the wishful thinking, isn't going to do a thing for you. It really isn't. That is my bank 2026. Why not have one there? What is this? having fun trying to figure out what the heck I did. So, since I don't know, do this. Where'd my pen go? Now, again, I'm literally organizing it as we go, which is where the whole catch is. So I file it under bank, the one I'm working with, and now I can take that information and it is where it needs to be, which means where I require it. In other words, if I have to look for it, I can walk in and go, there it is. Now there is a tune that goes hand in hand with that, but what the heck? Let's see, put that at the beginning because it's what I'm hanging on to. Let me go this. And you'll notice I've opened a lot of mail that I literally came in and just sat down. I'll read through those and see what it is. This. Now remember I said I do not deal with, I don't deal at all with charity per se. Okay, well I do, don't get me wrong. I don't deal with organized charities on the whole. I have found one that I'm giving a test to see what they do. I'm going to watch it very clearly to find out. But for the moment, all right, so I'm not going to be telling you which one because I'm looking into it. If I figure that this is a good setup, then I will absolutely let people know. But until then, it's not happening. Now what Bertel is that? I went in there to find out. And well, then I log out of this tab. Whoop, don't need that. Trying to figure out, no, I don't need that. Thanks very much. Take that and go. Yes, I'm puttering around on the net itself. Because what I'm trying to do is figure out whether or not I actually close this tab. No, don't need that. No. Okay, that's not what I need open. So how the heck do I close it? What I'm looking for, because I'm having trouble finding out how to log out of it. Because it looks like I'm still in. Okay, I'll deal with that afterwards. Don't require any of that. Okay, back to what we were doing. Now, that is this one here. Because this is a charity I'm looking into. The only two on the whole that I deal with is, I will deal with three technically. I will deal with food banks or pet shelters. Okay, your food bank, your SPCA, okay, whatever. But I don't take money to them. I give them food because, frankly, most people require it. Okay, I don't know about you, but if I don't get heat, I have trouble. Okay. take that little piece of information, and we'll look into the rest of it later. But for the moment, and I take a look, understand, the moment somebody tells me they're working on a charity, the first question I ask, other than what are you working with, is how much of the money that I'm giving you, what percentage actually goes to the actual charity. Okay. Now I will eventually open a charity myself. Okay. I absolutely will. But here's the kicker. The finances for it, okay, the administration costs for it when I get it open, will be 100% covered by myself, and literally I only run a sole proprietorship. Okay. So any money that any administration costs will be handled by me, not by the money coming in. Now here's what I do with with charity. I will take money to a bank, or to a food bank, or to a pet shelter. Okay, very important from my standpoint, because even if the people that are working there are taking food from it, they are still feeding somebody. Okay, and yes, there's a lot of crooked people out there. We could go into that. I don't see the point. Now, I look at this and I go, we just got the computer desk is clear now, as is my table. And I mentioned that right at the beginning. It's now clear. So now I've just got two things left. My shelf and the desk itself. Now, for the most part, I'm pretty much talking to myself a lot. I mean, I've had people drop in, but this is literally me building from the ground up. Not exactly the most exciting thing in the world. Okay? But that said, if I have helped you in some fashion, absolutely this is a good thing in my eyes. You get to figure out whether I am. Now, gotta look at those and see what I did. Pop that off the desk. Right now, what I'm doing is making sure I clear the desk. Clear the desk itself, clear the office, so that it is running smoothly. And that was the whole point of starting from the ground. Okay. That I have to make sure. Oh, that goes right there. Always, 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 and I don't use that term very much, although 3 times in the same sentence, that's pretty bad. Okay, make sure you find a stable place to put your stuff. Where it's going to be, that's where it's supposed to sit. In this way, you can actually get things organized properly. Now, that is not going there. Yeah, feel that. Got to find a place for that. But the good news, as soon as I get that done, is that I will actually have. Where am I here? Okay. Now, right now, I am in. We're covering B. I've got somebody, because I only just started this, restarted it today. Okay. So we've got somebody from Hawaii that's come through, somebody from BC. Okay. It's been a real quiet day. On the other hand, clearly not everybody is checked in or not everybody is in the chat room, because I got 5 thumbs up, which means I'm doing something. In all fairness, I'm surprised anybody listens to me, myself included. Okay, that's it there. We need a place for that. Require a place for that. Where am I going to put it? Anywhere to put it, sort of. Don't require it saying there. It's got to be stored out of the way, as it were. But where? I do believe. What am I doing here? I was going to do something else with that, but I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do with that. Take that and let's take a look at this and see if it's small enough. I don't think it is. Yes, I'm walking a little delicately. I'm actually feeling pretty good about this. But the reality of it is that I don't have a lot of floor space to work with yet. Have to deal with that and get it where it belongs. Okay. Now, that has just got my desk itself clear. So again, I started today going, I'm going to deal with these little projects. The first one being, let's get the office, where you work on your finances, where you work on your organization. Let's get that in order. So that's what I'm literally doing here. And right now, I'm just clearing off my desk to make absolutely certain that everything that is on the desk is where it belongs. So that I can think. Because I'm telling you, the more clear I get this, the easier it is for me to work things through. Now, those are the one box. I gotta go through that and get that all organized. That's another one of those projects I'll be working on over the next couple of days. Well, in all fairness, today is when it starts. Okay, so I will expand that as I go. So we take that and contain it all. That can sit there because it's working. That's all organized. That's set. That gets my calendar done. My desktop itself clear. And the office desk itself, the office shelf I was talking about earlier, is now clear. Therefore, my office is ready to run. Meaning I'll be able to think properly. Weird concept, really. I am looking at, I've been on now for an hour and 20 minutes. And, doing this really brought something home. Okay. It literally means I've taken an hour and almost an hour and a half out of my day. And I don't know how long I'm going to run things for. I came in here with the intention of getting things organized. Now, let's see if I've got. Go up here. Do I have a file? Oh! Well, that's a silly place to put that. Oh, no, that is not. It was necessary to be there. Beyond the portal, believe in yourself. Oh, believe in your 2026. Okay, that's what that was. So this goes in that file. You'll notice it's no longer on there. Open this up and we go PQR. Row. We take this and we put it in there. That's all gaming stuff that's got to go up front in the first place. And we open this up, go all the way to the back. And because I've gone all the way to the back, I can file that. That goes there. That's the operating, what is that? Oh. That stuff I've got to move to the calendar. That's what that all is for. Okay. That's all ready to go up front, as is that. But that, don't know how to file that yet. And I gotta find a way, like I said. when you're organizing things, get things organized in your head first, and then immediately, like procrastination will not do you any good. It really won't. Okay. All it does is delay the inevitable. Either you're going to create a problem for yourself, or you're going to eventually get back to it and go, I'm now going to clean it. Or I'm now going to organize it. In my case, I spent enough years being depressed and basically killing time. It really became an issue of going, okay, I've talked about this, I've thought about it, and I've sat and done absolutely nothing. Don't know how far this is going to go, but for the moment, it's got a file. What I mean by I don't know how far it's going to go is literally a question of it's a project. My wife is now getting into busking because she's a professional flutist. Okay, so I am now looking at this going, okay, I still have to get things organized for her as well. I figure if I'm going to do it for me, I may just as well make certain that the whole household runs that way. I know how to organize. I don't do it, but that's because I'm also a professional procrastinator. Thank you so much there, Rachel. Really appreciate you dropping in. Your support is literally invaluable. I'm just literally shutting down now. So thanks so much. I will be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Okay. I will come back on. Might be a little after 3 because I finished my game somewhere around 3. As soon as I'm done with D&D, I will be shutting down and coming online. But Sunday is a day I game, so I could be a little later coming in. But I will be here. In the meantime, guys, let me just really take a look at this. Evolution. There we are. Tonight, we are going, this is Saturday, so tonight we are going to be looking at Beyond Earth, the configuration of space. Okay. Join me live at 8 p.m. Pacific. Okay. And absolutely bring your live questions. In the meantime, and yes, I'm shutting down the office at this point. I'm going up front to work on other things. Okay. But with that in mind, absolutely, thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. I will see you again soon. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.